In a Ponzi scheme, the founders persuade investors that they will profit. Bitcoin does not make such a guarantee. There is no central entity, just individuals building an economy. A Ponzi scheme is a zero-sum game. Early adopters can only profit at the expense of late adopters. Bitcoin has possible win-win outcomes. Early adopters profit from the rise in value. Late adopters, and indeed, society as a whole, benefit from the usefulness of a stable, fast, inexpensive, and widely accepted peer-to-peer network currency. The fact that early adopters benefit more does not alone make anything a Ponzi scheme. All good investments in successful companies have this quality. If you have been living in a cave and haven't heard of Bitcoin, it is the biggest, best-known example of a cryptocurrency, an asset that has no physical existence, consisting of nothing but a digital record stored on computers. What makes cryptocurrencies different from ordinary bank accounts, which are also nothing but digital records, is that they don't reside in the servers of any particular financial institution. Instead, a Bitcoin's existence is documented by records distributed in many places. And your ownership isn't verified by proving, and hence revealing your identity. Instead, ownership of a Bitcoin is verified by possession of a secret password, which, using techniques derived from cryptography, the art of writing or solving codes, lets you access that virtual coin without revealing any information you don't choose to. In principle, you can use Bitcoin to pay for things electronically. But you can use debit cards, PayPal, and others, to do that, too, and Bitcoin turns out to be a clunky, slow, costly means of payment. In fact, even Bitcoin conferences sometimes refuse to accept Bitcoins from attendees. There's really no reason to use Bitcoin in transactions, unless you don't want anyone to see either what you are buying or what you are selling, which is why much actual Bitcoin use seems to involve drugs, sex and other black market goods. Though Bitcoins are not really digital cash, they can be considered as the digital equivalent of $100 bills. Like Bitcoins, $100 bills are not much used for ordinary transactions. Most shops won't accept them. It should be noted that Bitcoins are not a superior alternative to $100 bills, allowing you to make secret transactions without lugging around suitcases full of cash. The reason is that they lack one crucial feature, a tether to reality. Although the modern dollar is a fiat currency, not backed by any other asset, like gold, its value is ultimately backed by the fact that the U.S. government will accept it, in fact demands it, in payment for taxes. Its purchasing power is also stabilized by the Federal Reserve, which will reduce the outstanding supply of dollars if inflation runs too high, increase that supply to prevent deflation. Bitcoin, by contrast, has no intrinsic value at all. Combine that lack of a tether to reality with a very limited extent to which Bitcoin is used for anything, and you have an asset whose price is almost purely speculative, and hence incredibly volatile. Bitcoins lost about 40% of their value over the past 6 weeks. If Bitcoin were an actual currency, that would be the equivalent of a roughly 8,000% annual inflation rate. Bitcoin's untethered nature also makes it highly susceptible to market manipulation. Back in 2013, fraudulent activities by a single trader appeared to have caused a 7-fold increase in Bitcoin's price. Who's driving the price now? Nobody knows. Some observers think North Korea may be involved. But what about the fact that those who did buy Bitcoin early have made huge amounts of money? Well, people who invested with Bernie Madoff also made lots of money, or at least seemed to, for a long time. Early investors in a bubble make a lot of money as new investors are drawn in, and those profits pull in even more people. The process can go on for years before something, a reality check, or simply exhaustion of the pool of potential marks, brings the party to a sudden, painful end. When it comes to cryptocurrencies, there is an additional factor. It is a bubble, but it is also something of a cult, whose initiates are given to paranoid fantasies about evil governments stealing all their money, as opposed to private hackers, who have stolen a remarkably high proportion of extant cryptocurrency tokens,